Have you ever wondered what the fuss about budgeting really is? If you Google budgeting right now, I am pretty sure you're going to find thousands, if not millions of articles about budgeting. But what is budgeting? Especially when you're a small business, why should you worry yourself about budgeting? Or even as an individual, what is budgeting about? In today's video, I'm going to cover the basics about budgeting. This is a two-part video. The first part is going to cover the general basic understanding of what budgeting is, its advantages, and its uses. In the second video, I'm going to introduce you to a very simple accounting tool that you can use in your business to help you budget and take advantage of this, budgeting tool. And so that is what this video is about. So let's get started. Hi there, entrepreneurs. My name is Mukonki Konkela, and I'm the host of the Ndalama Insights Business Show. On today's video, I want to go into the details, all the basics about budgeting for your small business. Now, you might have wondered, why should I budget for a business when I don't even have the money to create that budget? What is budgeting? Probably that is the question you should be asking yourself. Now, when you think about budgeting as a business or budgeting for your business, I would want you to actually distinguish it from budgeting for your household. Because I think many entrepreneurs, the ones that I've come across in Zambia, confuse household budgeting to business budgeting. And why do I say that? Because I remember a few years ago, I was asked as to, why should I budget when I don't even have the money to budget? Or why should I budget when inflation is always, up and down? The exchange rate is always moving up and down. What is the relevance of budgeting? And in fact, for me, it was quite logical that is the main reason why you should actually create a budget. But in case it's not as straightforward as it sounds, let's look at it. What is budgeting? So budgeting is simply about creating a plan. It's a plan on not just your expenditure, but also your revenue. So budgeting includes two things. It includes your plan for the money that you want to make, as well as how you are going to spend it. So when you are looking at your annual budgeting, always look at how much are we targeting to make? And then for us to make that money, how much will we need to spend? That results naturally into how much profit are you targeting for the year. That is what budgeting is. So if you ask me, what is the advantage of budgeting? The greatest advantage for me, at least from my experience, because I carry out this process every year. Every year I create a simple budget for my business. My business is not very big, but I do have the discipline of sitting down and creating a budget for the forthcoming year. And when I look at it, I look at the target that I'm setting for the year. How much do I want to make in 2022? I always start with how much I want to make. How much do I want to make in 2022? So for example, in 2022, let's say I want to make 1 million kwacha. That is a target. I don't have 1 million kwacha right now, but that is what I'm aiming to get in 2022. That now gets me thinking, in order for me to get 1 million kwacha, what do I need to sell? Or from the services that I sell, how much do I need to sell? So that then gives me the targets in terms of my sales. How much am I aiming for in order for me to get 1 million kwacha? Now, for me to get 1 million kwacha, of course I need to spend money. So I then have to think about the expenses. What will I spend money on in order for me to make 1 million kwacha? And that is where the expenditure comes in. Then I have to now think about my net profit. At the end of the day, I'm in business to make a profit. I'm not in business simply to create budgets and to make sales without making profit. So my major focus is the bottom line. And the bottom line is simply the difference between your target for your sales, your target for your expenses. That gives you your target for your profit. So that is what budgeting is. Budgeting is simply a plan. It helps you to set the targets both for your sales as well as for your expenditure. Let's move on to the advantages. What advantage do I get by creating a budget? I think the biggest advantage you get is that you create a plan and targets. This plan and target helps you to have a clear direction in terms of where your business is headed. So when we talk about you creating a budget in terms of revenue or setting targets in terms of your revenue, it gives you a target to aim at, because you're not just shooting anywhere. You've actually got a target that you're aiming to achieve. So that will give you the motivation to work. So when you set a target in terms of your revenue on your budget to say we need to get 1 million kwacha, that gives you motivation, something to work towards for the coming year. And then when you set your budget in terms of your expenditure, it helps you to actually create a discipline around what you spend your money on, so that you are not wasteful, so that you actually ensure that you can achieve your goal or you can achieve your target. That is what creating a budget, especially on your expenditure, helps you to do. It helps you to think about how you are spending your money, so you just don't spend it aimlessly or carelessly. So you actually know that every kwacha you are spending on is value that you're adding towards achieving that goal that you've set for yourself. Okay? And now, the final reason why I think budgeting is really essential and very critical and very important, very, very important, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. It's because budgeting helps you to ensure you meet your goals. It gives you that motivation. It gives you that fire within to ensure that you actually meet your goals, your targets. Remember, the targets that you've set for your revenue, as well as your targets that you've set for expenditure, so you don't overspend, or you don't spend money that you don't have, or you actually don't spend money that you did not plan to spend. So these are the 3 main advantages of budgeting. What are the different types of budgeting? Now, when you're thinking about budgeting in your business, you actually need to understand that there are quite a number of ways you can approach your budgeting process, or there are different types of budgeting, or there are different types of budgets that you can create for your business. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 basic budgeting methods that you can use in your business, and I'm going to recommend one. So as I've mentioned, there are several budgeting methods that you can use in a business, but I'm just going to talk about 2. The first one, and the one that is most common, is the annual fixed budget. Now, this budget looks at the previous year's budget, and then it looks at any changes with regards to inflation, exchange rates. You know, inflation is of course an increase in the prices of goods and services. So when we look at the fixed budget, the starting point is your prior year's budget, and then you look at any changes that you can make with regards to an increase in the prices of goods and services, which is basically inflation. I do not like the annual fixed budget because I think it does not respond to what is actually happening on the market, especially with our experience with COVID-19 and the dynamic business environment that we operate in. I think the fixed budget is really a very traditional budgeting method that is not adaptable to our current economic environments, which are ever changing. Let's talk about the second budgeting method, which is something that I have a liking to, and this is the rolling budget. Now, if you look at the rolling budget, it's a little bit similar to the fixed budget, but it's got an advantage because every month that passes, you actually add on an extra month to your budget. And that is why it's called the rolling budget. So you don't have to wait until the year end for you to sit down and create a whole new budget. With the rolling budget, you are always adding on an extra period or an extra month to your budget. That way, your budget is always up to date. So you don't have, a fixed period every year to say around November, we need to create our budget. You call your small team, you sit down together, you create a budget. But you're actually doing that as the period goes, you're adding on a new budget, and it's much more flexible. It's relating. You are using current information. You are responding to what is happening in the economic environment. You're not waiting until 12 months later. Then you start looking at the increase in inflation, what the exchange rate changes have been. But you're actually adapting and moving with the changes in the economic environment. And so that is what the rolling budget is. Now, all this that I've explained is really, really theoretical. I am going to give you a practical application in my second video. This second video is going to introduce you to a very simple cloud-based accounting tool that you can use to create a simple budget. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please subscribe to my video and like and smash that like button so that every time I have a video, you can be first to know. And don't forget to share this video to any entrepreneur that you know, or even a person that is, aspiring to be an entrepreneur. Share the video, like it, comment it, share it, like it, and comment. Thank you so much for your time, and see you in the next video.